Here are the top stories for today, June 12, 2020. President Duterte leads the country in celebrating Philippine Independence Day. Malecon Yang says the president may be open to discussion on whether to allow face-to-face classes this school year. Metro Manila reports a lower COVID-19 infection rate as compared to the whole country's total. And Boracay opens its doors to tourists from Western Visayas starting June 16. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Duterte encourages everyone to be a hero in this fight against COVID-19. During his Independence Day message, Duterte said we all have to move forward with courage, hope, and optimism. Let's watch this.
I join all Filipinos in celebrating the 122nd anniversary of the proclamation of Philippine independence. 122 years ago, our forefathers proudly proclaimed the birth of the Filipino nation. Today, we honor them for their bravery, heroism, and sacrifice, as well as we thank them for the gifts of democracy and freedom. As we wage united battle against COVID-19, we now have the opportunity to demonstrate that we possess the same gallantry of spirit and the nobility of character as the heroes of our past. Let us now move forward with courage, hope, and optimism as we overcome this pandemic. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas.
The COVID-19 pandemic is changing the way the country is celebrating its 122nd Independence Day. In Malolos, Bulacan, the Independence Day celebration was held at the historic Barasawain Church with only 5 officials attending. Governor Daniel Fernando, Vice Governor Wilhelmino C. Alvarado, together with Malolos Mayor Gilbert Gatchalian, a representative from the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and the Philippine National Police lead the country's freedom rights in the province. The occasion was commemorated with a wreath-laying ceremony on the monument of the late General Emilio Aguinaldo. Fernando said the provincial government had canceled the usual stage program, speeches, and playing of the brass band since mass gatherings are still prohibited. In Luneta, the traditional Independence Day celebration pushed through with limited guests. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the IATF has approved the attendance of only 10 people during the ceremony. President Duterte has designated Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea to represent him in the Independence Day rites at Rizal Park. His message was aired after the ceremony. In Kawit, Cavite, the 122nd Independence Day was commemorated at the historic Aguinaldo Shrine with a simple and short program and a minimal number of attendees. The 175-year-old Aguinaldo Shrine on Calle Real in Caingen was the original site of the Proclamation of Independence and the victory of the new Philippines flag on June 12, 1898. Organizers said the commemoration of Freedom Day at the shrine was set with a simplest program with only 10 attendees due to the pandemic. The only program set for the day is the traditional simultaneous flag-raising ceremony, including the singing of the national anthem at the famous shrine balcony, the panunumpa sa watawat prayer, and the wreath-laying at the tomb of General Emilio Aguinaldo at the shrine yard. The event is graced by Kawit Mayor Angelo Emilio Aguinaldo, Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla Jr., 1st District Representative Francis Gerald Abaya, and NHCP Commissioners Emmanuel Calairo and Ino Manalo. In Lanao del Sur, locals of Tagoloan and Kapay celebrate Independence Day by declaring freedom from communist insurgents. Christine Lynn Viajante filed this report.
In celebration of Independence Day, locals of Tagoloan and Kapay towns in Lanao del Sur burned 6 different flags of CPP, NPA, and NDF as a symbol of their denouncement and freedom from these rebel groups. Spearheaded by the 82nd Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army, PNP, and local government units, residents unite to mark all members of the lefties as persona non grata.
Ang kalayaan na dapat nating ipaglaban ay ang kalayaan ng buong bansang Pilipinas mula sa mga threats o mga security threats na gustong sumakop dito sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Yun yung dapat nating bantayan, sama-samang bantayan ng mamamayang Pilipino.
Along with the mass condemnation, chairmen from 39 barangays of the 2 municipalities signed and sealed the creation of Barangay Task Force to end local communist armed conflict, to strengthen the campaign of EO70, and as a commitment to protect locals from the atrocities that these terror groups may bring.
Gone are the days that we leave the work on ending insurgency to the men in uniform. It is now our duty, tagya inisugo o agama Islam, as public servants likewise, and as residents of Taguluan, to end the insurgency.
The military also expressed support to the enactment of the Antiterrorism Bill.
Ang 82nd Infantry Bantaylaya Battalion ay buong pagsuporta sa gagawing batas na ito sa pagpirma ng ating Pangulo, at naway anuman ang magiging mandato ng AFP at ng PNP patungkol sa batas na ito ay tatalima kami at susunod, dahil ito naman ang ating sinumpaan tungkulin para mapanitilinin natin ang kapayapaan at kaayusan dito sa ating bansa.
For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lynn Viajante of PIA Ligan City Information Center.
President Duterte will announce his decision whether to lift, extend, or modify the different lockdown measures on Monday. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, while the IATF has already made its recommendation, this is not yet final.
Hindi po natin pangungunahan ng presidente sa kanyang announcement. At besides, meron pa pong mga apila na mangyayari. So yung listahan po ay hindi pa pinal.
The government's Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program has been suspended to prioritize the return of stranded OFWs and locals. This as a Filipina housemaid from Antipolo died on Friday while waiting for a bus ride to return to her family in Camarines Sur.
I decided as a matter of strategy na isuspend muna ang ating rollouts for the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa to give way. Unahin natin. Kasi this was a very clear instruction from the President. Unahin, pauwiin na ang ating mga kababayan na stranded dito sa Maynila.
Still to come, Malecon Yang says the President may be open to discussion on whether to allow face-to-face classes this school year. Metro Manila reports a lower COVID-19 infection rate as compared to the whole country's total. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Kakagaling ko lang ng grocery. Siyempre, hindi ko hahayaan na pumasok ang COVID-19 sa bahay at mapahamak ang pamilya ko. Kaya iiwan ko ang sapatos ko sa labas. At ngayon, maghuhugas ako ng kamay ng 20 seconds. O ayan, wala na ang virus. Tandaan, buhay ng pamilya natin na nakasalalay. Let's heal as one.
Alam niyo ba na pumapasok ang COVID-19 sa ating katawan sa pamamagitan ng mata, ilong at bibig? Kaya lagi kaming conscious dito sa bahay kapag umuubo kami. Lagi kami naghuhugas ng kamay in 20 seconds. Pag lumalabas kami, lagi namin suot ang mask. Lagi lang natin tatandaan mga mamshi. Buhay ng pamilya natin ang nakasalalay dito. Let's heal as one.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. President Duterte may be open to further discussion on the possibility of allowing face-to-face classes in areas with zero cases of COVID-19. In a public address on May 25, Duterte said he believes the opening of face-to-face classes should be pushed back until a vaccine that could protect persons against COVID-19 would be developed. On Thursday, the Commission on Higher Education said they are studying the possibility of face-to-face learning in COVID-19-free areas.
I am sure the President is open to further discussion on the possibility of face-to-face. Pero uulitin ko po, no, habang may banta ang COVID sa isang lugar, out of the question po yan. We will see po what will happen in the next few months kasi Agosto pa naman po ang simula ng klase.
Malecon Yang is urging relevant government agencies to check the state of Filipinos' mental health after a Filipina OFW committed suicide. According to reports, cruise ship worker Maria Hocson took her own life after learning that repatriation flights have been suspended again. Malecon Yang said it is saddened by the unfortunate death of Hocson. It also enjoined concerned agencies to provide psychosocial support services to Filipinos experiencing mental health issues. The National Center for Mental Health reported a spike in the number of Filipinos facing mental health issues due to the pandemic. NCMH says they are receiving an average of 30 to 35 calls daily from March to May 2020, compared to 13 to 15 calls daily from May 2019 to February 2020. Those with mental health concerns may reach the NCMH through its hotline numbers. Health experts from the University of the Philippines said the basic reproduction number of R0 for COVID-19 is currently below 1 in Metro Manila and 1.2 for the rest of the country. Professor Guido David from UP Institute of Mathematics said less than 1 R0 shows low transmission rate, while more than 1 means high transmission of disease. David said their group's latest R0 for the whole country is currently at 1.2, with a forecast of 40,000 new cases and 1,850 deaths by June 30. However, he said the actual new COVID-19 cases and deaths may lower if the country's health situation improves. For Metro Manila, the R0 was estimated between a low 0.96 to a high 1.2, with a difference caused by a lag on the data received from the DOH. Meanwhile, the infection rate in Cebu remains at a high R0 of almost 2. UP Octa research team releases their projections and forecasts every week. They enjoin the public to help lower the country's cases by strictly following health guidelines such as physical distancing and wearing of face masks in public. The province of Bulacan reports a decrease in index crimes by an all-time low of 40% for the past 5 months as compared to the same period last year. The Bulacan Police Provincial Office said the number of index crimes from January 1st to June 9 this year, including murder, homicide, physical injury, rape, and carnapping, declined to 398 as against 665 during the same period last year. On the other hand, the total number of non-index crimes for violations of special laws and local ordinances went up to 3,069 incidents as against 2,373 last year. The rise in number was attributed to the apprehension of enhanced community quarantine violators such as curfew and disobedience. Meanwhile, the crime volume in Central Luzon went down by 38.95% since the start of the ECQ implementation on March 17 up to June 10 this year. Police Regional Office 3 Director Brigadier General Rodel Cermonia says about 7,800 crime incidents were recorded in Central Luzon, which is lower compared to nearly 13,000 incidents during the same period last year. Cermonia assures the Pro 3 continue to level up its anti-criminality measures along with the continuous strengthening of police-community relations. Malecon Yang on Thursday expressed confidence that the Philippine National Police continues to enjoy the public's trust. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque explained that in the previous years, the PNP even garnered a high trust ratings. This statement was in reaction to a query that political observers allegedly claim that there is deep distrust in law enforcers due to their track record in the drug war, among others. Roque said those who are expressing displeasure against the police officers' actions belong to the minority opposition who want to topple the administration. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the PNP's anti-narcotics campaign continues to combat the proliferation of illegal drugs in the country. However, there were reports that Visayan drug lord Kerwin Espinosa remains to be powerful as he continues with his illegal operations while in detention. Roque assured that appropriate actions will be done in case the government proves that Espinosa still has links to illegal drugs. In our business news, the Department of Finance warns the public against believing information saying that Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III is promoting a cryptocurrency auto trading program called Bitcoin Revolution. The department said the DOF employees have also seen similar investment schemes illegally using the names of key treasury and finance officials in other countries to encourage potential investors to buy into their questionable product. Bitcoin is one of the more known cryptocurrencies, a virtual asset that uses cryptography and is being used for digital financial transactions. DOF thus encourages the public to report similar schemes to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Last May 19, the DOF issued a warning on what it called fake news after an article came out online saying the government has created a platform called Bitcoin Lifestyle endorsed by none other than President Duterte. Up next, Malecon Yang clarifies that registered online sellers earning below 250,000 pesos are exempt from taxes. And Boracay opens its doors to tourists from the Western Visayas starting June 16. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Mga mommies, pagdating sa COVID-19, dapat hindi tayo kampante. Bagamat hindi nakikita ang sakit na ito ay nakamamatay. At hanggang ngayon wala pa rin lunas. Kaya protektahan natin ang ating pamilya. Laging maghugas ng kamay, huwag hahawakan ng mukha, at manatili sa bahay para makaiwas sa sakit na ito. Tandaan, buhay ng pamilya natin ang nakasalalay dito. Let's hear this one.
Hi Caps! Kamusta?
Well, ito dahil sa COVID-19, medyo stress.
Okay lang yan, Caps. Napagdaanan ko din yan.
Ano kaya pwede natin gawin, no?
Kung nararamdaman mo na gulong-gulo ka na sa mga naririnig mo, sa mga nababasa mo, mag-pause ka muna, saka ka huminga ng malalim.
Buti na lang tumawag ka. Iba talaga pag may nangangamusta.
A strong body starts with a strong mind.
Tama. Let's heal as one.
Malecon Yang assures that online sellers earning 250,000 pesos and below annually are exempted from paying taxes. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque made the clarification a day after the Bureau of Internal Revenue directed online sellers to register their business activities, declare past transactions, and settle their taxes before July 31st. In a memorandum circular issued on June 10, the agency asked all persons doing business and earning income through electronic platforms and media to register their businesses pursuant to the provisions of Section 236 of the Tax Code. The order covered payment gateways, delivery channels, internet service providers, and other facilitators. Those who failed to comply with the BIR's directives on time will be meted with applicable penalties. Roque appealed for public understanding, saying that the latest move was meant to boost the funding for COVID-19 response. Senator Risa Ontiveros questioned the BIR's decision and stressed that the Bureau should instead focus on collecting the unpaid taxes of the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators, or POGO. The BIR is targeting to collect at least 2 billion pesos a month from POGOs. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, expressed gladness on the improvement of Boracay Island's water quality. The safe level is 100 mpn per 100 milliliters for Class SB water that is suitable for swimming, skin diving, and other recreational activities. DENR Secretary Roy Simatu also noted that the water is not a cesspool anymore. Last year, the average water quality they had was at 1.0 until December. On the issue of drainage and connectivity of sewers in the island, the DENR said since day one of the island's closure, they already required all commercial establishments to connect a sewerage system or have their own sewage treatment plant. Right now, they are also looking at the sewerage connection of households to the STP. In line with this, the Boracay Interagency Task Force on Thursday approved the reopening of Boracay to tourists from Western Visayas starting June 16. Among the factors considered in the reopening was the progress of Aklan in controlling the coronavirus infections. Interior Secretary Eduardo Anew, however, said restrictions such as curfew may still be imposed within the discretion of the LGU. With Boracay under the said new normal, Tourism Chief Bernadette Romulo Puyat said the same protocols applied for MGCQ areas will serve as rules for hotel operations. Malecon Yang defends anew the proposed anti-terrorism bill amid criticism from parties accused of twisting its main intent. Meanwhile, more groups from the provinces have shown their support for the bill. More on this from Marita Mawahe.
Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. on Thursday slammed critics for twisting the intent of the anti-terrorism bill, urging them to carefully weigh in on the current peace and security situation in the country. Galvez pointed out that even first world countries have recalibrated their anti-terror response following incidents such as the 9/11 attacks on the US and the Paris bombings. He also maintained that Congress has put in place safeguards to ensure that all the rights of Filipinos are protected. In Bulacan, leaders and members of a breakaway group from the Kalipunan ng Damayang Mahihirap or Kadamay have expressed support for the passage of the anti-terrorism bill into law. A statement by Lolita De Jesus, a chairperson of Kadamay Villa Luis in Barangay Siling Bata, Pandi, said the measure is very timely and would help remove the threat of terrorism in the country. The former militants also said the proposed measure would prevent terrorists from establishing terror cells in the country. For his part, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa maintains that the Antiterrorism Act of 2020 will not terrorize Filipinos, saying that the bill's primary objective is to protect the Filipino people from violence. De la Rosa, who co-authored the bill, said law-abiding citizens who do not help or support terrorists should not fear the approval of the bill. He clarified that those conducting rallies, protests, or mass actions would not be arrested and considered as terrorists. De la Rosa also urged Filipinos who are opposed to the measure to read and understand its context to avoid being misinformed. Meanwhile, more indigenous people mandatory representatives in Caraga region have asked President Rodrigo Duterte to sign the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 passed by Congress. The IPMRs said the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 will help the IPs and their communities in Caraga region ward off the continuing harassments, extortion, and killings perpetrated by the Communist New People's Army. Earlier this week, Agusan del Norte IPMR Datu Bawang Eddie Solhayan Ampiawan openly expressed support to the passage of the anti-terror bill, saying the measure will further shield the IP communities from the exploitation of the NPA. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muahe.
A high-ranking official of the Communist Party of the Philippines' New People's Army National Democratic Front has surrendered to the government to start a normal life. And Margaret Tauli, a member of the Executive Committee and former Secretary of the Regional White Area Committee of the Ilocos Cordillera Regional Committee, voluntarily yielded to authorities last Thursday in Kiniway, Besao Mountain Province. National Security Advisor Secretary Hermogenes Esperon Jr. said Tauli's surrender was facilitated by her sister, former UN Special Rapporteur Victoria Tauli Corpus, the 503rd Infantry Brigade, and the Police Regional Office Cordillera. Esperon, who is also vice chairman of the National Task Force to End the Local Communist Armed Conflict, said members of the CPP, NPA, NDF who want to embrace the law are afforded assistance. Government officials have reiterated their call to the NPA to abandon their lost cause. Albay Province was placed under disaster response status as Tropical Depression Buchoy hits the Bicol region. Buchoy was seen to spawn moderate to heavy rains over the province, triggering possible flooding and mud and lahar flows in low-lying areas and landslides in mountainous areas. Governor Al Francis Bichara ordered various disaster risk reduction and management offices to monitor the development of the weather disturbance. He directed all local disaster councils to be ready for possible evacuation in identified areas prone to flood and landslide. They were also reminded to strictly observe COVID-19 health and hygiene protocols in evacuation centers. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte leads the country in celebrating Philippine Independence Day. Malecon Yang says the president may be open to discussion on whether to allow face-to-face classes this school year. Metro Manila reports a lower COVID-19 infection rate as compared to the whole country's total. And Boracay opens its doors to tourists from Western Visayas starting June 16. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And today we celebrate our 122nd year of independence. Remember, the reminder for everybody, being independent actually comes with a big responsibility. Just because we are independent, it doesn't necessarily mean we're free to act as we want, we're free to do everything we want. Remember, we have rules and regulations to follow, just like we follow the green light when it's go on a traffic light, and we stop at the red and we caution on the yellow. We must exercise proper discipline and proper responsibility in being independent. Whatever it is that we practice in our families, let us practice as citizens of our country, and I feel that this system will be beneficial for everybody on a larger scale. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day, stay safe, happy Independence Day.